a revolving door for criminals, and a sure way that honest leaders would be forced to perpetually face the challenge of dishonest criminal swine in the next voting season. That was the fallacy in our policy for terms of office. What right-thinking person would want a system whereupon, when you find a great leader, he can only serve in office for a limited number of years? If a person believes that terms of office are there to prevent criminals from being able to stay in power for years on end, wreaking havoc, that person does not understand what you must do to deal with criminals or their organizations. Terms of office boil down to a system that offers an open door for the assets of local, national, and international crime networks to sell their lives to the public and win a seat of authority over them. When a leader is found to be a criminal, to have abused his power and hurt the people that were in his care, you charge him with treason and you execute him. You do not wait for the next voting year. That kind of thinking creates apathy and cultivates pacifism, the ingredients for the domination of the individual for all time. When a leader can show that he has a plan to better the lot of his people, and if he is allowed to carry out his plans by your support of his cause, and if he demonstrates his worthiness, then you do not give him a time limit on his leadership. Congress has ensured us nothing but a house full of cowards and criminals, where the voices of the brave go unheard. 541 seats didn't ensure anything for us. It has just come to mean that the criminals have benevolently made it easier for us to identify them by face and name. Since its beginning, Congress has sat by and let Americans be driven off to other lands to not only murder people they have no business killing, but watched on the sidelines as hundreds of thousands of sons and daughters had their lives taken for bankers and war profiteers. The very institution of Congress has meant that the folk, which means the people or the nation, is stuck in this erroneous idea that writing your congressman is going to solve anything. Since when has writing these insipid cowards done anything even important enough to turn into a low-budget made-for-TV movie? Maybe I would give them a chance if a portion of the room had the strength of character, commitment to country, and intestinal fortitude to gather at the center of the floor and rattle off the sickening list of traitors among them while armed men drug them off to face the penalty for treason. It is too late for Congress and the tired and purposefully flawed system we call the United States government. It is little more than a haven for the Black Mamba and her venomous kith and kin. We can then turn to the Constitution, a document that has only served to remind people of their supposed freedoms and kept them fixedly immobile on the idea that they must reinstate it, the document, rather than fight for their rights. It is because of this vile piece of legislation that people have gone into a soft and gentle sleep. They have fallen unconscious to the idea that it is a piece of paper that ensures their ability to speak their mind, practice their faith, or carry the life-saving instrument known as the gun. Here was a document written by men who kept slaves and somehow convinced us when they spoke of freedom, rights, and liberties, they were being honest. These were men who had no problem taking the land of another people, the way the Jews have enacted a process of genocide on the Palestinians, and many of us actually believed them. Just years after the formation of the United States of America, Count Constantine de Volney journeyed to Egypt, where he rightly claimed that the civilization was Negro in origin. But more importantly, he stated, what a subject for meditation, to see the present barbarism and ignorance of the Copts, descendants of the alliance between the profound genius of the Egyptians and the brilliant mind of the Greeks. Just think that this race of black men, today our slave and object of our scorn, is the very race to which we owe our arts, sciences, and even the use of speech. Just imagine, finally, that it is in the midst of peoples who call themselves the greatest friends of liberty and humanity that one has approved the most barbarous slavery and questioned whether black men have the same kind of intelligence as whites. Here were men who had purchased into a slave trade dominated by Jews, with Jews owning almost every single slave ship, and as admitted in their own histories. And these men helped to deny an education to their ancient brother, erase his name and his history. These men had now, with each black child assured to inherit a worse fate, a worse knowledge of self, helped to build the very foundation for the lie of black inferiority. It was in that time and place, in the years of slavery and the misery of millions of human souls, that early Americans were sold into the idea that such criminals could possibly create a system of government meant to serve and protect the people. Of course, their Freemasonic criminal enterprise, rife with Jewish investments, gave them the right to do as they pleased.